Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order this Tuesday, November 7th meeting of the Pierce County Council. It is Election Day, and it is 3:02 p.m. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Councilmember Campbell.
Here.
Councilmember Krueger.
Here.
Councilmember Denson.
Here.
Councilmember Herrera.
Here.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Here.
Councilmember Morel.
Here.
And Councilmember Mello.
Here.
There are 7 members present, Mr. Chair.
We have all 7 members present and a quorum. Our moment of silence today is dedicated to the victims and their families of the latest mass shooting, this time in a bar on Tacoma's 6th Avenue on Saturday over the weekend. It killed 2 people and seriously injured 3. Our hearts are with the victims' families. Please join us in listening to the land acknowledgement and Pledge of Allegiance to the flag led by Councilmember Hitchin, followed by a moment of silence dedicated to the victims of our latest gun violence. Councilmember Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional homelands of the Coast Salish tribes. Coast Salish people have lived on and stewarded these lands since time immemorial and continue to do so today. We recognize that this land acknowledgement is one small step towards true allyship, and we commit to uplifting the voices, experiences, and histories of the Indigenous people of this land. I'd like to invite all who can stand to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flags are in the back, and remember, we have a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are now at Section 4, the approval of our agenda. Are there any objections to approving today's agenda as presented? Seeing no objection, the agenda is approved. On today's council agenda, there will be multiple opportunities for public comment. On the consent agenda, you may provide comment on any final action item. This does not include items placed on the consent agenda for simply introduction or scheduling. On today's consent agenda, there are 2 appointment resolutions for final hearing that you may comment on. During Section 9 of the agenda, we will take public comment on the 1 resolution listed. And finally, under Community Forum, there will be an opportunity to address the council on any topic that is not on today's agenda at the very end of the meeting. That brings us to Section 5. We have the consent agenda before us. Does any member wish to pull any item from the consent agenda? Councilmember Denson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'd like to pull proposal number R 2023-161.
Any others?
No.
Vice Chair Morel for a motion. Excuse me, Councilmember Morel for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move we approve the consent agenda for November 7th, 2023, moving under item 2, item B, resolution 2023-161 to section 9.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as presented with the exception of moving item 2B to section 9 of our agenda. I'd like to open this up for a public comment on final action on the consent agenda. Is there any member of the public wishing to provide comment on any final action items on the consent agenda? We'll start here in chambers. Anyone in chambers wishing to provide comment on the consent agenda? Not seeing any. Ms. Persons, anybody in the Zoom room?
Any member of the public wishing to make public comment, press star 9 on your telephone keypad or the raise hand icon in Zoom. No hands raised.
Seeing no hands, we'll bring it back to the council. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on the consent agenda?
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morel.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Thank you, sir. And Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the consent agenda is adopted. That brings us to Section 6, messages from the executive, our judges, and prosecuting attorney. We have one message from the executive, transmitting the following ordinance, which was approved and signed on November 1st, 2023. It was ordinance number 2023-30S, which was an ordinance of the Pierce County Council adopting the 2023 update to Sustainability 2030, which is the Pierce County's greenhouse gas reduction plan. We're now at Section 7, proclamations, recognitions, and awards. Today, the council proudly proclaims November 11, 2023 as Veterans Day in Pierce County. I'd like to invite some very distinguished guests who have joined us today to the podium. I'd like to invite Robert Sheets, Pierce County Veterans Program Manager, Craig Doherty, State Commander of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, Michael Sisson, Puyallup Tribe Veterans Representative, retired Army Colonel K. Wakatake, Nisei Veterans Committee member, and Steve Woodward, a Pierce County veteran. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to call on Councilmember Herrera to read this proclamation into the record. Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. Whereas over 10% of Pierce County residents have served or are serving in the armed forces, and their commitment to our nation is vital to maintaining our way of life. And whereas Pierce County is grateful to the hundreds of local veterans of active, reserve, and National Guard who choose to continue to serving our communities through employment with the Pierce County government, raising organizational effectiveness with the knowledge, skills, and personal character traits they developed during the time they were in the military. And whereas through partnerships with local veterans organizations, Pierce County strives to achieve continuous improvement and expansion of needed services to our veterans community. And whereas over 34,000 Pierce County veterans receive disability compensation from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, these brave and selfless individuals who, when duty called, willingly put themselves in harm's way to defend the lives and liberty of others. And whereas Pierce County demonstrates continued appreciation and support for those who serve through the Veterans Assistance Program for those experiencing hardships, which so far this year has served 894 veterans with over $700,000 in vouchers and emergency food, housing, utilities, and medical costs. And whereas Pierce County veterans are deserving of the support and appreciation of all residents of Pierce County for their sacrifices they and their families made on behalf of all of us. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this 7th day of November 2023 by the Pierce County Council that November 11th, 2023 is Veterans Day in Pierce County. And all residents are urged to join in recognizing and expressing their appreciation for the contributions and sacrifices veterans and their families have made. The Pierce County Council extends its gratitude to all veterans for their contributions to the principles of democracy, individual liberty, and human rights. Signed this day, Pierce County Council.
Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, Councilmember Herrera. Thank you again to our guests for being here. We would love to hear from you. Who would like to start?
I can sort of hear myself today because I left my hearing aids at home. So what I am more than anything is a perfect representative and example of a disabled American veteran who each day must deal with the infirmities that they brought home with them. It's something that I have challenged myself to stand up and represent all. Understand, though we have in Pierce County a number of thousands of veterans, in the entire state of Washington, we have about 550,000 within the body all across the state. I was born at Pearl Harbor. Long before the end of the Korean War, my father was going into Korea then to rescue and fly out critically wounded back into the United States because they couldn't endure an overseas transport for medical service. He flew in with a Navy MATS unit and came in and out of there periodically. I was born the next year at the end of the Korean War. I watched him perform for the next 19 years as his son and seaman recruit. I was a family disappointment. I joined the U.S. Army.
Hey.
However, with that said, I have within my family since World War II and prior to continuous military service through 2013 in my family, let alone. One uncle survived Bataan, survived Japan, and came home a skeleton. One of my uncles was severely wounded and found at sea on Dunwich 2 days after his boat, his ship, was hit by an enemy plane. My father served as I have served, as my son has served, and I don't doubt that others in my family going forward will as well. And there will always be veterans who need the help and the assistance of their community when they do come home. It's not easy to come back and assimilate after you've left and then served and then come back. Time has changed what you left. Your physical person has changed. Your psychological person has changed. And with that said, each and every veteran deserves to have the VA hospital system at their beck and call to help them with some of the things that they had to live with when they served. It's been my privilege as the commander of the Veterans of Foreign Wars this year to visit all of our state and federal hospitals serving veterans. I can't tell you how important that is. From Vancouver to Walla Walla to Spokane to Seattle to American Lake to the Retzel home to the Ording home, the Walla Walla home. Do not forget where your veterans are staying, living, and serving, as well as receiving care all across the state. I first came here in 1961 with my father to NAS Whidbey Island. We came back again in '67 and stayed through graduation. I chose Washington as my adopted home. I had no home city. Pearl Harbor was as close to a home as I had up until I came to Whidbey Island. I've embraced that. We had to live through loss. While my father was deployed 4 times to Vietnam, some of his shipmates did not come back. They are on the wall at the Great Mall in Washington, D.C. So what I really bring to you more than anything is understand the service, but the sacrifice of time. They come home, they who have served. Not necessarily at a disadvantage, but behind the curve. And it's up to us to bring them even with all that they had left behind and come back to. That's the least we can do. I could sit here and passionately speak, and I could barely hear myself right now, trust me. When I started talking to myself and listening to my phone coming down here, I realized I left my hearing aids at home. Service-connected disability is a daily life that we live with. It is what we do. We endure, we persevere, we endeavor to persevere. I want to thank you very much for being able to come down here and express a couple of views from a veteran's standpoint and a veteran's viewpoint. I live down the street over here in Fife 5 days a week. If you would like to talk to me, come through our doors. Sometimes you're going to have to knock on it. Such is the life of living in Fife. with that regard. My door is always open, my phone is always on, and my hearing aids are not necessarily in my pocket, but in my ears. And I listen to all veterans and anyone who wants to come in and petition for and help veterans across the board. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Commander. You may have a hard time hearing yourself, but we can hear you loud and clear.
Good. I couldn't tell.
Who else can we hear from? Mr. Sheets.
Good afternoon, Council. For the record, Robert Sheets, Veterans Program Manager here for Pierce County. There's a couple of things I wanted to come talk to Council about. First off, I want to thank you for doing the proclamation again for Veterans Day. There's 88,000 and growing veterans here in Pierce County. 30,000 of those are disabled veterans. We're 7% higher than the state average when it comes to that. We have more 100% disabled veterans than any county in the state of Washington. Here, the county last year worked really hard to make sure that seniors and some veterans knew about property tax exemptions. That's our goal next year, to make sure that our 100% disabled veterans are aware that that program exists, and we want to connect them through the assessor's office for those types of services. I'll be honest and tell you, here in the county, we worked really hard at providing services through my program for the veterans that are less fortunate. We, like Councilmember Herrera talked about a little bit ago, 890, that was as of about a month and a half ago. Those numbers are a lot higher now. And I'll have a meeting tomorrow that I'll know exactly what those numbers look like, but they're higher than that, and we expect them to rise. And some of that was through the programs that we're planning in the future, what to do and provide services for those veterans. I can tell you that us, the nonprofits, the VA, Washington Department of Veteran Affairs, all those organizations got together and developed a plan to better coordinate homeless veteran services in this community. Because for a lot of years, unfortunately, organizations kind of did their own thing. Didn't really work. So we spent this year really getting better at providing those services together. And that's a goal towards what the future should look like for us. Because like Steve and the other veterans are going to come up here and talk about, not all veterans are built exactly the same. Reality is, you could look at anyone out there and not know exactly what a disabled veteran looks like. I look like one. There's other individuals in this room that do as well. And my goal through the county is to provide services to those individuals. And I appreciate the time that we've had to come up here and talk about veterans, recognize Veterans Day, and make sure that people can take that moment, whether it's a few seconds of their day on Saturday, whether it's Friday, whatever it might be, and really connect with those veterans in their lives. Neighbors, family members, next door neighbors, best friends, whoever it might be. Give them a phone call. You know, we live in a world, unfortunately, where veteran suicide is high. It's not that hard to pick up the phone and call and see what's going on. If it takes November 11th to do it, great. But reach out more than that. So with all that said, I just want to thank you for your time to come up here and talk about Veterans Day, talk about the veterans we have in this community, and thank you for the recognition for the other gentlemen and all the other veterans that reside here in Pierce County.
Thank you, Mr. Sheets, our Veterans Program Manager. Others, there's a handheld mic that's also available for your convenience.
Atzlahel, Michael Sisson, T. Dista, Tom Shedide, T. Spoyella Papsch, Ched. Good day. My name is Michael Sisson, and I'm a Puyallup tribal veteran. Native Americans have served at the highest per capita of any ethnicity, I'm trying to say that right, within the United States for over the past 200 years. I am so proud to be one of those individuals. I work together with 58 other tribal veterans in the Puyallup tribe to honor veterans and to help any veteran that asks for assistance. Some of the ways that we've honored veterans is we do military honors when they cross over. We travel to spread the knowledge of veterans. We've had the opportunity to go to Normandy, France in 2019 for the 75th anniversary of D-Day and stand on Normandy Beach at 6 a.m. when that assault first happened. Coincidentally, 444,000 soldiers were involved in D-Day. Of that, 155 were Native American, and only 37 of them have been identified to this day. I had the honor of meeting a World War II veteran named Charles Norman Shea on that day. He's an elder from the Penobscot tribe in Maine. He was an Army medic, and he came ashore with the first wave with only bandages and 2 shots of morphine. This man spent more than 10 hours dragging people out of the water. His bravery was recognized. He saved countless lives that day. It was an honor to meet him. We have 2 veterans that are going back in June for the 80th anniversary. I had the opportunity to stand on that beach and introduce myself to the spirits in my native language and tell them that they were not forgotten. We also were able to go to Washington, D.C. last Veterans Day for the dedication of the National Native American Veterans Memorial at the Smithsonian Institute's Museum of the American Indian. You know, we don't really talk about what we did too much, but we do talk about the things that we do to bring attention to veterans and for people to recognize veterans. And we've got to do a lot of things for that. For example, today, earlier this morning, I was up at Fir Grove Elementary for a Veterans Day assembly. Last Friday, I was in Federal Way for another Veterans Assembly. And on Thursday, I'll be at Chief Leschi as well for another Veterans Day assembly. Mostly, the tribal veterans try to serve the community, and I'm very proud to be one of those individuals. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Pierce County Council for recognizing veterans, for doing a land acknowledgement, and recognizing the coastal Salish peoples of this region. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us. Thank you for your service. Any others?
My name's Steve Woodward. It's just talking. Oh, it's up here. I only have one final thing to say is that I want you to remember that females also served and we have a lot of female veterans. They served in every conflict that the U.S. military served in. Special note, over 400,000 females served from the Gulf War through the Iraq and Afghanistan War. And I venture to guess that we have veterans in our audience too. So I want to say thank you to them also. So if you have them, think about them also on Veterans Day. Thank you.
Thank you for recognizing that. We want to thank our esteemed guests for being with us to help us celebrate and recognize Veterans Day. Thank you for being with us. Let me open it up to my colleagues to see what final remarks they have. We'll begin with Councilmember Denson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just real quickly, thank you, gentlemen, so much for coming today. Thank you for your service and your sacrifices. I also want to thank your families, because the families are affected very greatly as well through the service of their loved ones. So I want to thank them as well for their sacrifice. Mr. Sheets, thank you for all you do. And I know that hopefully I can speak for all of us. I'm sure I can, that anything that we can do to help you get the word out about your programs, and whether it's property tax exemptions or any of the mobile resource van that you have, I know that we are wanting to make sure all of the veterans have all of the services that they deserve. And they do deserve not only our respect and our thanks, but our care as well, and doing our best to make them whole and their families whole. And then finally, if anyone does not have anything to do on Veterans Day, which is this Saturday, Gig Harbor is having a Veterans Day celebration. We do it every year. We celebrate all of our veterans from all of the wars and all of the engagements, and veterans of all military services, but we always highlight one particular time time period or one particular war, and this year we're really focusing on the Vietnam War. So if you're interested, come see me, or you can just Google Gig Harbor Veterans Day. We'd love to celebrate our veterans, and you're welcome to join us. So thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. Councilmember Hitchin.
Thank you, Chair. I, too, want to acknowledge and thank you for being here and for your many years of service. And thank you for calling out the families. We know that it, and you mentioned it in your comments, that it impacts the families. And you come back and things have changed and you have to learn how to be a family together. So sometimes we forget that part. As far as Veterans Day, I feel like every day should be Veterans Day. Every day somebody should be thanking a veteran because we are here and we are able to celebrate our freedoms because the veterans that have served our country as we have sadly many times. I do want to mention one event. It's not Veterans Day related, but it's in December. But I figured while I had a captive audience, we have the 2023 Veterans Day our Veterans Stand Down program, which is basically how do we tackle homeless vets. We know that we have unfortunately, many veterans that are experiencing homelessness either permanently or temporarily, and we would like it to be temporarily and then gone as far as veterans experiencing homelessness. And it's December 7th and 8th here in Tacoma. USAVet.org is the website, and they are, it's happening locally, so it's going to be at 12605 Pacific Avenue, Tacoma, Washington, and it's 9 to 3. And I'm very sure that Mr. Sheets knows what I'm talking about and can hook you up if you have questions, but I just think this is, you serve our country, you come back, you should have a home. And I think that we can do better. And we have gotten better as a county, but we still have more work to do. So that's part of why these things are so important. So thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Hitchin. Councilmember Cruver.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say how much I treasure the stories that you have to tell and that they should be shared. And that knowledge needs to be passed on to each generation because life isn't a bowl of cherries. And the resiliency that you have and that you can share is only going to help the rest of humanity in understanding what you've gone through and how you've come home. And it hasn't always been pleasant, but we do appreciate you. And it may not always seem that way, but it's in our hearts. And I just thank you for what you've done, and I treasure your stories. I may have to come visit and hear more. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Vice Chair Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. My apologies for not being there. Thank you, gentlemen, for being there to receive this proclamation as the son of a Vietnam-era veteran and several veterans throughout my family, all the way from those who served on Omaha Beach to those who were in Desert Storm and also called to duty here locally following 9/11. We know that not just in Pierce County, but all across America, veterans' contributions to our society are immeasurable. So thank you all very much for your service. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair Campbell. Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair, and it was an honor to read the proclamation today. I would like to recognize anybody who's in this room who is a veteran. Please stand up. Is there any other veterans in here? Do we have family members of a veteran here? It should be a lot of you probably, right? Stand up. We're all affected, yes. You know, in any culture or any society or tribe throughout mankind's history, the warrior has always been at the top. They've always recognized the importance of the warrior. So today is right and just to recognize that, to recognize our veterans and families of Veterans Day of all their sacrifices. So 2 words, 8 letters. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you is a word that in any religion is one of the greatest things that anybody can say in any type of religion. I don't care if it's Muslims or anything like that, to their God is thank you. So that 2 words, 8 letters, thank you to our veterans, is really, really important. And when it comes out of my mouth, We really mean it. And when you're walking down the grocery store and you see a veteran and you say thank you, 2 words, 8 letters, make sure it comes from that part of your heart, that you really mean it, and that you're just not saying it as an auto response. America has an all-volunteer military, and it's one of the most professional, and we rely on that. And what I'll tell you is that the American military member knows that it has its backing at home. And that's where we get our strength from the darkest days of combat or just freezing our bottoms off on guard duty in someplace up in the mountains here in the United States doing guard duty. We gain the strength from the support that we get at home, from our families, and just to America and government also. And shifting from the thank you, we can continue to say thank you by making sure that we appreciate our veterans when they get home, because when they get out of the military, just like Mr. Sisson was saying that, and our state commander was saying that it's kind of hard. You know, they're looking for a way to fit in. And veterans military was a positive impact in their lives. It brings out their strengths, attributes, and skills out. And I wanted to make sure that our civilian companies and workforce and things like that, that they don't think that veterans are just broken, riddled with PTSD, or have such little skills that all they can do is knuckle drag. We have to mentor our veterans when they come out. We have to give them a hand up. Either we got all kinds of different veterans that come out. We have veterans that have issues right when they come out. We have veterans who become CEOs. We have veterans who do this or that. They're working in all different types of places. They bring all great types of value to our workforce. And I want to tell everybody we need to continue to educate our businesses that veterans are valuable. And again, Washington, Pierce County is a veteran state. We have JBLM, McCord, we have Kitsap, Bangor, Naval Air Stations, we have Everett, Bremerton, we have Indian Island, we have Fairchild Air Force Base, Yakima Training Center, several U.S. Coast Guard stations here in Washington, and 43 National Guard armories and readiness centers. Washington is a veteran state. And I'd like to say that Pierce County acts like it. One last thing, Chair. A lot of veterans who stay in the military have been stationed all over the country and maybe all over the world. But once they pass through Western Washington and JBLM, they want to live here. They want to work here. I don't know too many veterans who was stationed at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and want to retire there. They want to retire here, so we have to pave the way for veterans. You know, it's getting more expensive to live here. And when JBLM expands or contracts, probably more than 60% of active duty soldiers live outside of JBLM. And right now, when it comes to housing, they're moving south of Thurston County, Olympia, and Lacey areas, because there's not much housing here for that demographic. I'd love to see that change further. Chair, I've spoke enough on it. Again, 2 words, 8 letters. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Hura, and thank you for your service. I'll close with a sincere thank you. Thank you to the leadership of those who brought this forward today. Thank you to those who have helped us celebrate in a really meaningful way, and the work that you do in serving other veterans. And I'll also close in just letting you know our sincerity. This council, in so many different ways, is not about lip service. We're about action. Just 2 brief examples for you. Earlier this year, when the previous Congress passed the PACT Act, the PACT Act helps veterans who are exposed to toxics in the battlefield, or Agent Orange, or burn pits and other toxics, get expanded VA health care and benefits that they deserve. Right? Our Veterans Service Office here in Pierce County worked really hard to go the extra mile to get the word out to all the veterans that reside in Pierce County so that they knew about their access to these new and expanded benefits. The council certainly supported that, and really said, whatever you need to get the word out on that, let us know, and the staff worked very hard on that. Also, in the spirit of less lip service and more action, the council will release its budget tomorrow, and you're going to see several enhancements to our Veterans Affairs Office and how we support veterans through the council's budget that we intend to adopt before Thanksgiving. So we are sincere in our gratitude and showing our gratitude, as many speakers have indicated, to make sure we're good partners and provide appropriate hand-ups when needed for the men and women who have put everything on the line. So again, let's give these veterans a round of applause. Well, as we were assembling to take that photo with our veterans community here to celebrate and recognize Veterans Day, I was reminded by Robert Sheets, the Pierce County Veterans Program Manager, that the PACT Act that I spoke to, we put a lot of effort into making sure the veterans community here in Pierce County was very aware of the PACT Act and their access to these expanded VA healthcare benefits. He reminded me that because of the hard work of many, including our staff, to make sure folks knew what they deserved, we brought home $110 million in expanded healthcare benefits because of that hard work via the PACT Act. So way to go, team, in getting the word out. That's $110 million of healthcare benefits that would not have been here if not but for that hard work. There are no ordinances on our agenda today. We are at Section 9, Resolutions. We have Resolution 2023-161 before us. Councilmember Denson for a motion.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I move resolution number 2023-161.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 2023-161. Madam Clerk, will you please read the title into the record?
Proposal number R 2023-161, a resolution of the Pierce County Council confirming the appointment of 2 new members, Anna Jensen and Mandolyn Hunter, to the Pierce County Arts Commission.
Thank you so much. I believe we have both here in attendance today. Thank you for making time to be with us. We'd like to invite you both to come to the podium, introduce yourself, and say a few words about why you wish to serve. Can we start with you, Anna?
So good afternoon, and thank you for having me here. My name is Anna Jensen, and I'm currently the Executive Director of the Tacoma Youth Symphony Association. I also have the joy of being a professional musician in our county and perform with various arts groups, but youth and education are at the heart of everything I do, and bringing together community. And so if it all proceeds, I will joyously accept this position, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you for your willingness to serve. Madeline Hunter, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you to the veterans. One of the great parts about my job is being able to teach the future generations, and today we were able to learn about veterans very close and personal to me, which is both of my grandparents. One served in the Air Force, the other was in the Army, so you can imagine those quips around family dinners about which one was more important. So thank you for the people in this room that served and for everybody else. I lived in Gig Harbor for 6 years, and I've strived to make it more friendly to arts, diversity, and kindness. One of the things that we talk about is kindness is not just saying please, thank you, and hellos. It is standing up for what's right, and it's doing what you believe. And thank you for this opportunity to be here. I currently run the only theater company in Gig Harbor, and I was privileged enough to be a part of the first Pride in the Park in Gig Harbor. We are currently just formed our first commission, bringing more diversity, love, and respect to the Gig Harbor area. For this new commissioner position, I promise to be always working to bring more diversity, more love, and more arts into the communities. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your service. Do any members have any questions for Anna or Madeline before we open this up for a public hearing? I don't see any. Thank you again for making yourself available in person nonetheless, and coming all this way to introduce yourself and share your passion for public service, especially in the arts. This is a public hearing on the appointment of these 2 new members to the Pierce County Arts Commission. Any member of the public wish to provide comment on this appointment? We ask you to come to the podium, state your name for the record. Anyone wish to make comment on this appointment resolution? Not seeing any. Ms. Persons, anybody in the Zoom room?
For any member of the public wishing to provide public comment on Proposal R 2023-161, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. No hands raised.
Seeing no hands, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Are there final remarks by council members? Councilmember Denson.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I am extremely proud of both of these individuals and thankful that they stepped up to represent District 7 on the Arts Commission. Thank you so much. Clearly, both of you are just extremely accomplished in the arena of arts, and it's very obvious your passion and genuine interest in making sure that everyone has access to the arts, and you understand the importance of that. My mother was a music teacher, an elementary music teacher growing up, so I understand how important it is, especially for children, but really for everybody, to feel comfortable participating, whether you think you can sing or play an instrument or draw or paint. It's so important that people have the opportunity to express themselves in all different ways. It's healing, it's exciting, it brings a lot of joy to people's lives. So Ms. Jensen, you have a very long history of public service, I think over 16 years working in the nonprofit arena. It's incredible that you're the executive director of the Tacoma Youth Symphony Association. That's so amazing. I am curious what instrument you play.
I play the great big one. I play the bass.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Well, we'll have to come see you sometime when you're performing. So thank you for all of your service. And I noticed in your application you talk about your passion of working with children, and that certainly is an interest area for all of us up here. So I know you'll bring a lot of that to the commission. And then Madeline and I know each other from Gig Harbor, and I'm so excited to have you on the Arts Commission. I love theater myself, and it's so important. I can't believe that we are so thankful to you for bringing theater to Gig Harbor, because we haven't had a theater in Gig Harbor for a long time, and it's just really important for all ages. And your passion and interest in making a difference in people's lives and opening minds and encouraging inclusiveness is something much needed in the community. So thank you to both of you for being willing to serve.
Thank you. Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for stepping up to do this. I mean, it is important. Art is an expression of a society. When you come into an area and you see the art, that means it's probably telling you that community is doing pretty good. I mean, you look out through, I remember visiting East Germany when it was still East Germany, and coming from West Germany, and seeing, the first impression I had that there was no art there, other than a couple statues of Lenin. But, I mean, it gave you a first impression. It was kind of dull. Nothing was going on there, and things like that. And if you look at throughout mankind's history, you have art from the Egyptians and all kinds of things. That's what's left over of societies in some aspects. So I'm sure you've gone into a small town also, you see these art things, and it just says something about it. So it's important as an expression of Pierce County. You're going to be there heading that up, and we appreciate you taking the time out for that. It's important. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I couldn't say it any better. Says a lot about our community, about the how it invests in bringing joy to people's life, and making just a community that much better. And it was just so great to meet both of you and hear just a little bit about why you want to serve. Thank you, Councilmember Denson, for supporting these appointments and encouraging their public service. So thank you so much. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on Resolution 2023-161?
Yes. Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
Councilmember Hitchen.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
And Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On the vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the resolution is adopted. Thank you again for your willingness to serve. We are at Proposal R 2023-158. Councilmember Morrell for a motion.
I'll pass. Just kidding. I move proposal number R 2023-158.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 2023-158. Madam Clerk, will you please read the title into the record?
Proposal number R 2023-158, a resolution of the Pierce County Council setting the date of an evening District Number 4 council meeting for Thursday, December 7, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Edison Square, 5415 South Tacoma Way, Tacoma, Washington.
Thank you. Ms. Long?
Thank you. The Pierce County Charter provides that the council shall conduct at least one evening meeting in each of the 7 districts each year, and that your rules of procedure provide that the specific time, place, and dates of these evening meetings be provided by resolution of the council. The resolution before you tonight does just that for the 2023 evening District Number 4 meeting. Details were provided by the clerk just now, and I'll just note that this evening district meeting on December 7th will be held in addition to the regular Tuesday meeting of that week. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Long. Any questions or comments before we open this up for a public hearing? Not seeing any. This is a public hearing on this resolution establishing the District 4 in-district council meeting. If anyone wishes to provide comment, please come to the podium. State your name for the record. Not seeing any. Ms. Persons.
For any member of the public wishing to provide public comment on Proposal R 2023-158, press the raised hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. And we have one hand raised. Mary, you just need to unmute.
Mary, we see your hand raised, but you are muted. Can you repeat the instructions on how to unmute, Ms. Persons?
To unmute, I will press the unmute button for you. See if that helps.
So the microphone icon in the Zoom app or *6 on your telephone keypad, Mary, will unmute you.
Well, Mary, I'm sorry we can't get you unmuted. Is there any other hands raised, Ms. Persons?
No other hands raised.
Seeing no other hands raised, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Mary, we're always available for your feedback. Feel free to email us or call us. Many ways to contact us. We're always available for your feedback. Final comments by council members. Agenda is forthcoming for members, but just some of the things we have planned. We'll get some remarks from the Deputy Mayor of Tacoma with a focus on regional partnerships between Tacoma, other communities, and the county. We're going to hear from the chair of the Mayor's Youth Commission. So we're going to hear a youth voice and a youth perspective from the Mayor's Youth Commission in Tacoma. We're going to get an update. For those of you on the Health and Human Services Committee, you're going to hear it twice that week, but we're going to hear from Director Moss the funding strategy for the Maureen Howard Affordable Housing Act. The Health and Human Services Committee will hear that presentation earlier in the week. We'll get a repeat because it's a different audience. This is an evening meeting in community, so it's a totally different audience, and we want to share what we're doing as it relates to affordable housing with the community. So many of us will get to hear that twice and perhaps have different questions. That's some of what we have planned for that evening meeting. I'm not seeing any other hands at this time. Madam Clerk, looking for a unanimous vote here from everybody. Will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Hitchin.
Aye.
Councilmember Morrell.
Aye.
Councilmember Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Krueger.
Aye.
Councilmember Denson.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera.
Aye.
And Councilmember Mello.
Aye.
The result of the roll call vote is 7 ayes and 0 nays.
On a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays, the resolution is adopted. We are at Section 10, Community Forum. Community Forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the council on any topic that did not appear on today's agenda. There is a 3-minute time limit. There'll be a timer on the screen. If you're on Zoom, it's on your screen. If you're in chambers, it's to your right. We ask you to state your name if you would like it on the record, and we ask that you address all your comments to the chair. I'll start with those in chambers, then we'll move to the Zoom room, and we're going to start with those who have signed in. And actually, I don't have anyone signed in on this sign-in sheet, so we will just ask folks to, thank you very much. Thank you very much. A number of people signed in but did not wish to testify. So we'll just queue folks up. Everyone who did sign up here said no, they didn't want to testify, but we're going to open it up. Who would like to come forward? State your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to make your remarks.
Ken Paulson. I'm going to make this remark because of today. My great-grandfather had my great-uncle, my great-grandfather's brother. Anyway, he had a motorcycle dealership 5 blocks up the hill in about 110 years ago. And he was in World War I, and he came back and he started a car dealership in Puyallup. And when he retired in the late 90s, he was the oldest car dealership in Puyallup. His name, Tom Paulson. And saw a picture of him in his fatigues, and he looks just like my oldest son back then. He probably was about the same age. Anyway, I've spoken here before, and with the occurrences in the last 30 days, it appears that we don't know really what's going on in the world. People who believe that the illegal immigration has been good, I believe they believe a lie, because it's not good. Those people that are the bad people, the terrorists, they might just do what they did in Israel here. And the ones that aren't terrorists, undercover foreign military, they believe that. The others are some good people, some murderers, rapists, cartel members. We're in the close to what I've described as adversity, but I don't know if it's next week or 5 years from now. And I've said adversity is a polite word. Anybody who can read financial stuff knows that the world is getting closer every day to not using our dollar. And when that happens, that's going to be big time adversity. Stuff's coming. If you believe the lie, you're standing on quicksand. And I can't tell you what to do because people are standing on quicksand, don't believe truth, they believe a lie. But I suggest you do your own searching really fast.
Thank you. Any other member of the public to participate in community forum, please come to the podium, state your name for the record. There's a button that makes it go up and down. You're a little tall, sir. Yep, so we can hear you. Another, yeah, there you go.
There we go. All right, that's as high as it goes. My name is Michael Williams. I work for Pierce County Parks Department. I'm a member of the Teamsters Local 117. And I'm up here. First, I'd like to mention that this is my first county council meeting.
Welcome.
And thank you. And I'm here because I feel this is extremely important. I've been worked with the Pierce County Parks for 20 years, like I said, and we've always said that it's easy for politicians to get new parks, but it's hard for them to maintain the parks. I'm the boots on the ground in the parks, and my coworkers, and I've seen a lot of change over the last 20 years, and a lot of the wonderful new parks that many of you have been part of getting into our county park system, it's hard for us, the boots on the ground, to maintain those. One of the issues in the last few years is keeping good employees. Our wages is the only reason. I've got a lot of really good ideas that would take me longer than 3 minutes to tell you about, but I really want you to really listen. I'm only speaking on the Parks Department, but I know it's relative to all the other departments. Our wages right now have not been keeping up with what they need to be keeping up to. We are getting new employees that are very skilled, and they're leaving. They're not staying around. A lot of them are putting in multiple applications. We hire them. They find better, higher paying jobs. I think for our park system, it is very important to maintain them, and the maintaining level of our parks has gone down. Go to any park that you have been part of getting into our wonderful park system and look at them today versus what they were after they were first built. We are struggling to keep them in the condition that they need to be in. And one of the ways that we can do that you can help, is by our cost of living raise. Our annual wage adjustment has not been keeping up with the local CPI. It needs to. We're not wanting to go out and buy new vacation homes. We're wanting to go out and buy groceries. And I feel very strongly about that. Right at this moment, people are struggling to go out and buy groceries. The guys that I work with, that I'm shoulder to shoulder with, I was rebuilding a dock at Lake Tapps today, one that was damaged. One of the guys that was right there helping me, he was talking about struggling to buy groceries for his family. And it breaks my heart. And you guys have the ability to help us with our annual wage adjustment And I really hope that you take a look at that this year with our contract.
Thank you.
And do what you can to increase our annual wage adjustment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did exceptional for your first contract. Thank you for your public service. Thank you for educating us and the important work that you do every day. Any other member of the public, please come to the podium, state your name for the record. Mr. Byron Allen.
Good afternoon, Council. Chairman Mello, my name is Byron Allen. I'm the business manager and financial secretary for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 483, here in Tacoma, Pierce County. We represent workers at Pierce County. The workers that we represent control the traffic signals. They take care of the lighting on county roads all throughout Pierce County and adjacent communities that don't have their own facilities. It's a small group that does a very, very large job. It's a job that's directly related to public safety. They are facing the same situation the gentleman just spoke before me are facing. I can't go into what we're doing at negotiations because I was required to sign a document by the county that said that I would not talk to you about it. That should give you pause. That should make you stop and wonder why your Human Resources Department, your labor negotiators, do not want the unions talking to the council.
Yes.
I can't tell you what's going on. I can't tell you the numbers we're seeing. I can't tell you the language that we're looking at and the forces that are being put upon every union that is representing every worker with Pierce County is dealing with right now. Yep. And we have a clock ticking. A clock is ticking over our heads with regards to accepting what they're offering or getting nothing.
That's right.
So, all I'm going to say is, if you do not have it inside you to ask your people that work for you what they're doing in their bargaining sessions that they are required by the state of Washington to negotiate, to collectively bargain our contracts, if you do not have it in you to ask questions and wonder what's going on there, I don't know what else we can do. But I can't tell you because I had to sign a document saying I wouldn't talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Please come to the podium, state your name for the record.
My name is Jason Render. I am a facility maintenance mechanic. I've been with the county for 27 years. On Friday, November the 3rd, Bruce Danmeyer, he likes to put out a blog. And the blog reads in there that put yourself in another's shoes. The ability to see a situation from another's perspective is important, especially when we're delivering critical services to them. I'm up here to speak again. Facilities management guy that does all of the non-scene work that goes on at this county city building every day. Picking up poop off the sidewalks, picking up blood in the jail, shoveling snow, trying to keep our public a safe building to come in, keep the lights on, keep it warm, keep the walls painted. The cost of living rates that we're talking about is, to me, it's horrible. It's horrible. We can't do anything with this. Okay, the county, Bruce Steinmeier actually sets out a budget before we even get to negotiate a number. He gave us, the numbers. I've heard 4%. 4%'s floating around out there for a COLA. The union. I want to be able to negotiate my contract. I want to make my contract strong so that I can take care of my family. Like I said, I've been here for 27 years doing this work. I spoke about 2 weeks ago, and this is really, really important, guys. The coworkers, my union and brothers, sisters, there's no way they can afford a house in Pierce County. If you take the average mean of a $400,000 home and you try to come up with 20%, with an 8% interest, your payment's about $3,000 a month. Some of these guys only make like maybe $3,000 total in a month. We're taking away from the people that are working for Pierce County. Without us, there is no Pierce County. We're here. We're doing the dirty work, accepting ourselves to diseases and stuff up in the jail. Like I said, COVID, everything, you name it, it's all in there. I got pictures, I could bring you pictures and show you. I got blood on my uniform when I'm up there working from somebody that wanted to cut himself inside the jail, trying to keep this place running every day. It's tough, guys, it's tough. I'm a veteran. I served 4 years in my military. And like I said, I've been a resident up here for over 30 years. I'm fortunate enough that I have a wife and a daughter, and both of us work, and I have a home, but some of my union brothers would like to have a home, but they can't afford it. They're living in apartments, they're living in rental homes, they're sharing, stuff with everyone else. So I just hope you guys can find it, that you can talk to whoever we need to within Pierce County and find out if we can do some more on a cost of living raise so some of our guys can have a little extra money. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Welcome. Please state your name for the record.
So my name is Russell Alfano, and I am facilities maintenance with Pierce County. And I've been with you guys for about 9 months. And like Jason was saying, it is tough to survive off of our wages. I only make $27.42 an hour right now, and I'm only walking home with about $3,000 a month. And I have to have a roommate, and it's hard to afford groceries and gas. And I just wanted you guys just to look it over again. So. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. Welcome.
Hi.
You can make it go down.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Jessica Height. I am the union shop steward for Pierce County Superior Court Clerk's Office. We're requesting, besides the cost of living raise, but a 40-hour work week. The clerk's office, as a public sector, most departments work 40 hours. About 28 years ago, we went down to 37 and a half to avoid a strike and having people laid off. But we've been requesting in the budget since then to get back to 40 hours a week. Just working an extra 3.5, it would help. It would help people, and especially Thurston County, King County, they all get 40-hour work weeks for the clerk's office. We processed over 25,000 cases last year, over 772,000 documents. I've grown, born, and work in Pierce County, and it would be nice to have a good 40-hour work week, Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
My name is Haley Sherman. I'm a crime victim advocate with Pierce County Prosecutor's Office. I want to share that I've been working with Pierce County for about 2.5 years. I live in Councilmember Hitchens' district. My husband and I bought our home in 2018 with a lot of help from our parents. I have 2 sons under 2, and it's been a really rough year. 2 under 2 is enough, but to look at costs of formula, diapers, groceries. I didn't know how expensive berries were until I had children, but berries are very expensive. Everything in my life has become more expensive. And staying in public service, my husband works in public services while he works for the state. The intention is for us that we're investing in our futures and the futures of our children. And right now, we're not investing in anything. We're just surviving. And so I am pleading with the council that the cost of living in Pierce County as Pierce County taxpayers and as people who serve in this district, I'm working, daycare is $2,500 a month, just without any other expenses for children. I work to put my children in care, and that is not a future setting up my children for success if I have to sacrifice so much just to make sure that they can get to where they need to go in life. So I'm asking for the council to consider a higher cost of living adjustment for everyone that is currently negotiating for our unions, and because we deserve to be able to succeed instead of just surviving. Thanks.
Thank you. Welcome.
My name's John Hoppy. I work in the road maintenance department for Pierce County. I've been there 21 years. When I started here, it was a really good job. It was competitive, and we had people staying a long time. And now the way the last 6 years, the COLAs have been dictated very strictly and under what the COLAs actually should have been, and they've been pulled away from us. Our talent level in our younger people, they're coming in, they know that they're getting a foot in the door because the talents are low to choose from right now because everybody else is working and getting good raises. So they're coming here to get skills and trades, and then they're going to move on. And it's already started in our department. You know, there's truck drivers. I'm in supervision. Most truck drivers outside in these unions and big construction companies, they're making way more than I am. And I'm 61 years old. If I were 50 right now, I'd be looking at leaving. It's gotten pathetic that these are not sought after jobs anymore. And it's really sad. So I'm hoping you guys can do something to get those COLAs turned around, at least moving in the right direction for us. And that's what I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us.
Hi, my name is Tress Nicholson. I've been with the Prosecuting Attorney's Office for 23 years. I enjoy my job. I really enjoy my job. I don't enjoy my paycheck. I have not enjoyed my paycheck for over a decade now. I think some shame should be involved with the county for having us work for the wages that we do. I think that the cost of living raises that we have been given are not cost of living raises. They are scraps at the table. I think you should be ashamed. I really do. I once was very proud to work for this office. I still love the people I work with, but I'm with that gentleman who just said if I were younger, I would leave. And what you need to look at is the retention rate in our office. Don't talk about the vacancy rate. Talk about the retention rate. We are not keeping our people any longer. We're not keeping our people because they are not being paid a fair wage. So what we are doing is spending our time training, so that they can leave for a better job because they're young. They're young, so they can leave for a better job. I am almost speechless, and yet I am not, because I'm with the other gentleman who said, we're not allowed to talk to numbers. We're not allowed to speak to you about what is happening at the table. I say the same question. Why aren't we allowed to speak about it? That is questionable. When you see people all around us getting wage increases of 7, 9, 15, and 17%, and you offer us, I'm not allowed to say the number because I'll get in trouble, but I'll tell you what, it's not even near a double digit. It's not even halfway to a double digit. So again, I say you should be appalled. Look at us. We are asking you for raises. We are asking you for a fair wage. Give it to us. We're hard workers. We've worked for decades for you people. We've worked for this county. We work to keep you safe. And if Dan Meyer says everyone has been working 40 hours in his office, that best case scenario is a misquote. We are working 35 hours a week, the support staff in our office. Now, let me tell you, 2 years ago, the attorneys were made to work 40-hour weeks. Please explain that math to me. We come into the office at 8 o'clock already behind because our attorneys have already been there and we have work for us in a bin that we will never catch up with because we are all working behind the gun.
Thank you.
Monday through Friday.
Anybody else in council chambers wishing to participate in community forum? Please come to the podium, state your name for the record.
Yeah, my name's Matt Newell. We have, it's been proposed on 34th Avenue to put in speed bumps. And the only asphalt we want to see there is a new road, not speed bumps. We got companies that go up and down the road, delivery trucks go up and down the road. We don't want to have 3 speed bumps on our road. I don't even know whose idea this is, but it says it's coming from you guys. Just to give you a little history, I own a trucking company. I bought a contractor's yard there. It was contractor's yard since 1983. And I used to be on the Frederickson board, and so we had a planning guy come in, and I'm not going to give any names, but came there and facilitated the meeting. And I'm like, great, my business is expanding because I'm, just like anybody else that owns a business, you're hitting your head against the wall. If it doesn't fall over, you hit it harder. And so we're expanding, so I buy this. I was going to buy this, and I asked him, I says, hey, listen, I don't know anything about land use. I just know how to move it, right? And so he looked into it, and he says, man, this is a perfect fit for you, a contractor's yard. And thus started my hell week. In 2018, he said it was great for me to purchase it. I put my lifeline on the line and buy this piece. I go in there, then 2019, Pierce County Code Enforcement shows up. Then they close their case. Second infraction was Pierce County in September 2019. They wanted me to a permit to expand the yard. I never even expanded the yard. They closed that case, so they realized that the prior company did that. Third interaction was 2020, June of 2020, trying to rebrand. So somebody from this office, I've got the emails, and I know who did it, but somebody in this office was talking to your guys' council, suing me. Well, I'm spending $165,000 frickin' dollars in lawyer fees. So somebody in this office, and I'm not going to mention his name, but emailed that prosecuting attorney and tried to say, hey, why don't you rebrand his company, not being a dump truck company, but having it be an LTL company, like a freight moving company. So then I'm spending more money going to Superior Court. And now I'm literally at the Court of Appeals in Washington State because of you guys. I'm just trying, I employ 22 people for Pierce County. I've lived here all my life, 57 years, went to Rogers High School. I played basketball in K Street because that's where you found the best basketball players back when I was in high school. And I'm absolutely appalled that I've got to be here and talk about 34th Avenue and speed bumps and talk about my business.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, I need to be fair to everybody.
No, I hear you. I hear you. I just wish you would hear me.
We do hear you, sir. Anyone else wish to participate in community forum? Well done.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Tedrick, and I'm the business manager of the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 612 out of Tacoma, Washington. And we represent the HEOs, which is the heavy equipment operators, and the supervisors for Pierce County out of the Central Maintenance Facility. I, too, have, for lack of a better term, been forced to sign a document that says I'm not allowed to talk about negotiations. So I feel like this is sort of a gamble and a risk to be here communicating with you all. But nevertheless, I'm willing to take that chance for our members, but not just for our members, but for all of the labor unions that are negotiating with Pierce County. There's been really good testimony here tonight, and I am in agreement with everything that was said here. For our part, I don't know if I can say this, but what I'm going to say is in the 11 years that I've been here negotiating on behalf of our members with Pierce County, this is the only contract in the history of Local 612 that is going backwards, absolutely backwards. And it's frustrating, to say the least. We are super frustrated every opportunity. I don't blame the people who I sit across the table with in negotiations. And you could ask any one of them about me personally. Most of the people I sit across the table with and negotiate with, I get along with very well, and I respect them. So wherever this directive is coming from, I think we all know where it's coming from, but it's just frustrating to say the least. And I think that's probably all I should say. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Thank you for representing your members. Others?
Hi, I'm Michelle White. I work for the prosecutor's office. I've been there for almost 23 years with several of my coworkers are over there. And we all basically have the same issue as everybody else, being offered a very, very low cost of living increase. And also, one problem that we have, another problem is that we only work 35 hours. We are begging for 40-hour work weeks. We will take a lower cost of living increase just if we could work more hours. We want to work more so we can take home more money, if that makes sense. A lot of people don't want to work more. They want to make more, but we're willing just to, let us work more hours. So 40 hours, from what I've been told, we were flat out turned down. So, which I think is ridiculous. There's no negotiating in that from what I've been told. And another thing would be a wage adjustment raises, not just cost of living increases. I have been topped out since 2018 in my legal assistant 3 scale. So for 15 years, I have only gotten cost of living increases. It's ridiculous. It's averages about 52 cents a year of a raise that I'm getting, which is only cost of living. And as you all know, we all know, the cost of everything is through the roof. You can't get by on just one income. I'm thankful I have a husband who works over 40 hours. So, if you guys can do anything, please listen to all of us. We're not just here just saying, give us more. We'll work for it. But we also deserve more. 23 years is a long time to be somewhere, and I feel so underappreciated. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us.
I'm Tara Amon. I'm with Teamsters Local 313. I'm a business representative and president of the local union. I wasn't going to talk today because I was here last month and talked with you. I just want to let you know that I hear day in and day out from my members, they're not making enough. They can't afford to live. And 90% of the consumer price index, and sometimes even much lower than that, is not sustainable for a long period of time. And that's the way it's been since I started bargaining this contract in 2011. I don't want you to take offense of all of us here to talk to you. We are only here to inform you. I too was given ground rules to not speak with the council, but I refused to sign them. So we're here to let you know to please be cautious and mindful when you go through the budget or speak with labor relations about what's really going on at those tables. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a number of hands up in the Zoom room, but before we get to the Zoom room, is there anybody else in council chambers wishing to participate in community forum? Okay, Ms. Persons?
For any member of the public wishing to participate in Citizens Forum, press the raise hand icon in Zoom or *9 on your telephone keypad. And first, we have Mary. Mary, you are unmuted, but we cannot hear you. And it looks like you are now muted.
Mary, maybe your computer is muted. Well, let's move on, and we'll come back to Mary if she can get herself properly unmuted.
Next, we have caller ending in 764. And it looks like you are muted. Press *6 on your telephone keypad to unmute. Caller ending in 764.
Hi, this is Barbara Rowland, and I didn't have an agenda, so I didn't know where I came up on the agenda, so I'm just asking a question.
Go ahead. Oh, thank you. Ms. Rowland, do you have anything to share with us?
No.
Okay, thank you for being with us. We already made the appointment. We appreciate you serving.
Okay, then I'm going to say goodbye and let you continue your meeting.
Have a great evening. Thank you for your willingness to serve.
See you all soon. Bye.
Next, we have Yolanda.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Ms. Markle.
Okay, all right, thank you. Hello, my name is Yolanda Markle, and I live in Spanaway, Frederickson area. And I'm always worried about what's going on in Pierce County because they've destroyed a aquifer, and I'm full of warehouses now. But listening to all these neighbors from Pierce County that are not being taken care of, again, I can understand that it's leadership. The leadership of Pierce County at the top has fallen apart. And I know there are people on the county council that know, because we all have to be mindful and polite, but the leadership is what's destroying Pierce County and making all our workers unhappy. And then they can't take care of business. And there was a guy on there trying to fear us into the world, the sky is falling. But no, we need to worry about Pierce County. And Pierce County leadership needs revamping, because this is what it is. It's trying to destroy our community so that we can't survive. And here's all the little people saying, here it is. We can't even work. We can't even live because Pierce County is not paying us anything. They're not taking care of. They're not taking care of the people that take care of us. And that's stopping with the leadership. The leadership is doing this. We need to all understand that. And it's moving slow, but the roadblocks that have come because of the leadership, cutting things off, getting ugly warehouses built, not paying people and letting them work 40 hours a week so that they can take care of business and maintain our county. So thank you, all of you, for stepping up. And we need to vote, kids. Everybody needs to vote. And then we could fix the leadership in 2024, because Pierce County's leadership is not for the residents of Pierce County. There's another agenda. So please, stop destroying Pierce County by destroying our workers and not taking care of them so that they can do the job to take care of our communities. We need new leadership. Please, all of you, think about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Markle.
Next is Moses.
Good evening, City Council, members of the public. Am I coming through all right? My mic sometimes doesn't work well.
We can hear you well.
Fantastic. I would like to start off by thanking all of the U.S. servicemen and the veterans in the room serving our nation right now in the country and abroad. And I would like us all to remember the USS Liberty incident, which happened on June 8th in 1967. 34 U.S. Navy personnel perished by air and sea attacks when the Israeli forces attacked the USS Liberty. Over 200 additional service members were injured during the attack, and Israel claims that their intelligence agency identified it as an Egyptian ship, even though it was flying an American flag. Major Uri Meretz of the Israeli Defense Force knew that the USS Liberty was an unarmed U.S. Navy intel operation. However, the Israeli Air Force and Navy bombed and torpedoed the ship anyway, making sure to target lifeboats specifically to prevent any American servicemen from escaping. And I bring this up today just because of our geopolitical climate right now. Obviously, we've all heard about the conflict in Israel and Gaza and in Palestine. And the United States has recently sent a force of 12 aircraft carriers over, major one being the USS Gerald Ford. And I'm just terribly worried that perhaps the Israeli government is going to attack our servicemen, our countrymen, our young men and women serving right now to protect and serve in our nation, in order to go and blame it on Hamas or the Palestinians or any other group in the area to get more U.S. troops on the ground than Biden has currently actually put on the ground again, dragging us into another useless war in the Middle East where we have absolutely no stake in. Right now, Israel is killing and raping and maiming every man, woman, and child they can get their hands on in the Gaza Strip. And why are we giving them $8 trillion? I believe we're a little more than that now. I think we're up to billion, not trillion. I misspoke. And we're giving all this money to this terroristic country that enjoys shooting children in the genitals. I have seen videos of Israeli forces high-fiving each other after shooting children under the age of 12 in the genitals so they cannot procreate. But I have not seen any evidence or a single video of a beheaded baby, a beheaded Israeli baby. I haven't seen a single video or photographic evidence, just hearsay, of a baby being put into an oven. Like, Israel is trying to make this out to be a second Holocaust so they can get away with their international terrorism and their international Jewry and destroying the West in the way they have since the Second World War. Thank you so much. Much love.
Thank you.
Next is Darnell.
Hello, Council. Can you hear me all right?
We can hear you well.
Okay, I came intending to speak on a different matter, but after seeing the display by the veterans earlier and especially hearing the last speaker about the USS Liberty, it really stirred me to speak on that specific topic. I've actually had heard of the incident with the USS Liberty before, and how it's not public knowledge is beyond me. That one of our, so-called closest allies literally knowingly opened fire on a well-marked U.S. vessel, killing and wounding scores of young men, even after intercepting their radio communications and hearing the cries for help. They turned around and restrafed it. I'm sure the veterans that are there in the audience, if they are still there, I'm sure that if they were aware of this, they're probably quite sickened by it. If they were not aware of it, I hope that the last speaker will encourage them to kind of go look into it for themselves. You can find out about stuff like this at a website that I've come across recently. It's called gtvflyers.com. And also, listening to my neighbors up here speaking about the budgets, and we can't even afford to pay prosecutors when we have counties and cities being swamped literally by invaders. There was a speaker in the room earlier tonight who spoke about the quicksand that a lot of people are standing on, whether they realize it or not. And I would have to second his sentiment. I see this going on every day. I don't know what to do about it. I do what I can about it. I try to reach out to my neighbors. I try to do things like what I'm doing right now and just voice my opinion. Nothing I'm saying here is written. Maybe I should have rehearsed something, but I'm just trying to come from the heart and reach out to you people and help people to understand that your news that you're seeing every day is manipulated. They're not there to inform you. They're there to teach you what to think, not what information is available. Unfortunately, if you want to actually get raw information, you have to go look for it yourself, and you have to know how to vet and sift through the craziness and get to actual raw facts. But it can be done. Thing is, we have a complacent and apathetic American public who will not go get off their fat behind and go look and find some information for themselves and then act on it, like I'm doing right now. By reaching out to councils like yours and just letting them know that, Mossad did 9/11. It was a Israel CIA cooperation job, and God damn it, nigger, nigger, white power.
Thank you. We're asking folks to stay on topic and stay respectful.
Next is Eric.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, thank you for giving this opportunity to speak tonight. And I want to give you a round of applause for respecting the First Amendment and letting those previous speakers speak. I'd like to ask, this is a little different. Other city councils have done these. I would like to ask for the city to pass a resolution condemning the terrorist attacks against the civilians in Gaza. It is in your city's jurisdiction to be able to come to some type of resolution, and you can make a public statement either condemning the terrorist attacks, or you can stand with the Israeli Jews that are, parasites and are killing and maiming children.
Sir.
I'm asking for the city to pass a resolution condemning hate.
This is not the city, this is the county, and we're going to request that you remain focused and respectful.
Okay, well, I'm asking for the county to condemn hate. I'm asking for the county to respect the lives of Muslims. Muslim lives matter. We need to stop killing Muslims. We can't tolerate parasites. They're vermin. Those Jews, they get what they deserve. The Holocaust never happened.
We're not going to allow folks to swear or exhibit racism in here. Move on.
Next, we have Michael.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Phil, a lot of interesting speakers here tonight. I guess what I want to add in is that why is the ADL giving us? Why are they the ones in control of what we're allowed to say and who we're allowed to criticize? I ask, who can't you criticize? You know who that is? The Jews.
Do you want me to stop?
Hitler was right. 1488.
Point of order. Can you?
Yeah.
We're moving on.
Next
if there's one more commenter like this, I'm going to close community forum and we're going to move on. So beware for future commenters. If there's another commenter that exhibits any hate speech, I'm going to stop community forum and we're going to move on with our evening. Next.
Next is Anne.
Hi. My goodness. I had an entire speech prepared on veterans and the lack of care they're getting, but I found myself tearing up at the public comments. I found myself longing for a time long forgotten, a time where you didn't need 2 incomes to barely scrape by, a time where pregnancy was a thing of joy and not a financial burden, a time where homeschooling my children was an educational decision and not a financial one. I can take my burdens without complaints. I got them. But here, everyone is struggling in this manner. It's honestly a depressing state of affairs. And as much as I would like to blame it on a singular county, I find the problems are much deeper seated. If you feel similar to me, please inform yourself. Visit gtvflyers.com. It really opened my eyes, and upon hearing how hard my community members are hurting, I urge you to get informed. Again, that's gtvflyers.com. Thank you for letting me speak, and you guys have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Next is Mary.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful, wonderful. So wow, all these calls, I am so happy that everyone is really aware of the Jewish problem that we have.
If you're going to...
I muted her.
Thank you.
Hate speech is protected.
Can you move on?
Next, we have Mike.
Hello. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. My name is Mike Caruso. And I would like to say my thoughts and prayers go out to these veterans here and people that are struggling in our county and all around this country. The concerns that the previous speakers raised are near and dear to my heart because I feel the same way. Where do we go from here? There has to be a resolution passed. I second the notion that we should denounce the war crimes that are being committed. White phosphorus is a war crime, according to the Geneva Convention. I don't think that we should support this. But back to county affairs. I would like to also propose a resolution for the library. I think that the library should invest in at least 6 copies each of the following books. Number 1, by Martin Luther, written in the 1500s. The book is called The Jews and Their Lies. Number 2, Henry Ford.
Next, we have Greg.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
We can.
All right. I really think that you guys should be respecting free speech. You know, I understand cutting people off for swearing, but, you know, these other previous topics, when you're cutting them off, pretty sick. You know, the only people who are trying to silence speech are someone who's got something to hide. I don't know what you got in your closet, but it must be pretty sick. I mean, what do you expect people to do? You know, we're backed into a corner where we just try to speak our mind and we're being cut off. They just go about our lives, and you guys are just, you know, grooming our children, taking our money, raping us up the ass.
Anyone else?
No additional hands raised.
Seeing no other hands raised, we'll close community forum, bring it back to the council. Any member of the council is free to challenge my rulings at any time, but we're not going to allow hate speech and that kind of violent speech in these chambers. But again, any council members free to challenge my rulings. I'm sorry that many folks had to listen to that. We've closed community forum and brought it back to the council. I want to, there's A couple of just brief reflections on what we learned in Community Forum. For those that came to offer what I consider to be productive and thoughtful feedback to the council and the county to consider, thank you for taking the time to educate us and take the time out of your busy life to do that and to speak with us and have us hear what's on your mind. It's really important for us to do that. There was a gentleman here speaking about 34th Avenue. I know that gentleman's not here, but I believe Vice Chair Campbell, who of course is still in the Zoom room, he's participating remotely because he's taking care of a sick family member. And I know he heard that. I know Vice Chair Campbell is aware of the issue, working on the issue. I'm told the project has been paused and is under review. Again, I believe Vice Chair Campbell is in communication with the constituents, so we'll leave it to Vice Chair Campbell's office to communicate back with that constituent. To all of the other folks we had here in chambers, many of our public employees and people who represent our public employees, again, thank you for using this public forum to make your voice heard. We received a letter recently from the Pierce County Labor Coalition. I know we all read it. I want you to, I believe all of you know well how the system works. The council's role in collective bargaining is to consider the ratification of a collective bargaining agreement after it's been bargained at the bargaining table between the bargaining unit and the executive branch. Our role is to consider the final ratification of the bargaining agreement. We do communicate with the Labor Relations Office. We take your concerns very seriously. We do communicate with the Labor Relations Office and reflect back what our values are. And I want you to know that we do communicate that we have expectations of retaining our employees, recruiting great employees, retaining them, being fiscally responsible, and having a respectful contract and a respectful place of employment. Those are the values and priorities that we give to the executive when the executive and his staff are bargaining these contracts. So we'll continue to be in listening mode, and we take your concerns very seriously, and we have every interest in retaining and recruiting a great workforce, because you are the folks on the front lines delivering public service every single day, and we appreciate you. And you do deserve a fair contract. Are there any other, do any other members have any other, we're going to close community forum. We're at other business and announcements. Do any members have any other business or announcements? Councilmember Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. Real quick, I just want to remind for the Puyallup area, November 12th at the Puyallup Pavilion, a Veterans Day program is going to be happening there at 2 p.m. And we invite not just veterans, but everybody from the community to celebrate veterans. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other business or announcements for other members? Well, I want to remind everyone that today is Election Day. You have until 8 p.m. to drop off your ballot at one of 49 ballot drop boxes that are conveniently located around Pierce County. You can also get your ballot postmarked by today if the post office hasn't come by, and remind you that there's no postage necessary. I'd also like to remind everyone that most county offices are closed this Friday, November the 11th, in observance of Veterans Day. Pierce County offices will reopen for public service on Monday morning, but emergency services will remain fully available, of course. Ms. Long, is there any other business for council this evening? Seeing no other business before the Pierce County Council, we are adjourned.